Alright, what's up, guys? So, Scott the Waz? I feel like, I don't know, I feel like Waz may not, if it's, I feel like that's how you pronounce it. I don't know, I'm gonna take like an 80-20% chance. Like, I feel like I'm saying it right, but I don't know. But anyways, has uploaded a video titled PC Games on Console. Now, I'm familiar with PC games on console. He may talk about it in this video, but one game I remember in particular that was a PC game that went to console, and this is like back in the Xbox 360 days, was Counter-Strike. And yeah, it didn't do well. Like, it's funny because like that game, it's actually, I think, well, I don't think you can buy it, but you can still play it. Like, they have it where it's like it was a digital game. So no, they did have it where you could play it and stuff, but I don't think nobody in this world is. But you could just very well just go out, get you a PC and just play like that and stuff. So yeah, I don't think nobody's playing it on console. Who knows? Maybe they are. Maybe it's like have like maybe 20, 30 people. They just, they just play it like once every few months and stuff. But no, let's go ahead and check out this video. If you guys haven't, make sure you guys go subscribe to Scott the Waz for more videos like this. And in that being said, let's go ahead. Wait, hold on. Let me do this. All right, there we go.
Hey y'all, Scott here. I have molecules. I can admit that. Those molecules form a man with skin who uses it to play bug. Evil isn't born. But that was. My brain was only ever designed to be this, which means if I want to tolerate using a PC for 30 minutes to discuss PC games on consoles, I must go forth with brain surgery, replacing it with an
Oh yeah, The Sims, it was like a, but I don't know, like I just think that game, it did so well. Like, it was one of those games where it's like, it didn't even matter that it was a PC game going to console and stuff. People liked it. I know my sister, because she was really into The Sims, and she played it both on PC and on console. So yeah, she's still a fan of it. But anyways,
copy, though now with the PC game tolerance toggle switched to iffy. The results,
dang.
maybe. What's scarier than a serial killer? A serial killer in your house! This is a video game console, a piece of hardware designed first and foremost as a game-playing device. You may be able to do other things on it, but at the end of the day, these products are meant to be plugged into your TV, connected to a controller, and playing games specifically designed for it. Not much can go wrong here. When using a video game console, the only thing you truly use is your ass. This is the simpleton's method of playing video games. No necessary...
I was one of those weird kids that stood, like, as I got older and got a little bit taller, then I stopped doing it and stuff. But when I was like at this height and maybe slightly taller, yeah, I stood up when playing video games. I literally would just be standing there and just playing it and things. I didn't sit. But then as I got older, I'm like, nah, my legs is getting, I'm getting old, all right? So I'm like, nah, let me sit down real quick when I'm playing a game.
On fixing anything, no fear as to if your game won't run. The only thing you have to worry about is if Applebee's will be open after this. And because of that, I feel that many console users, myself included, forget an entire world exists beyond this. Ever hear of personal computers? Yeah. Video games on PCs. Yeah, I don't believe in God either. Some people prefer playing video games this way. Some people also punch cats. Now, I have a PC here. Wait, let me get the dust off of it. Yeah, I am primarily a Mac user, which, hey, I can play games on here. Uno. There's actually more games than you may expect that release for Mac, but that doesn't really take away how I like my computer to be for productivity and my console for pleasure. But hey, there's reason some people prefer gaming on PC. Much like how many say there's some reason people f bugs. A game console's controller only has so many inputs, with thumbsticks offering limited range on where you can go with them, compared to a PC's natural input, the keyboard and mouse. Yo, they got caps lock on this thing?
It's better.
Damn it. Well, you have like over 100 keys and a mouse that can go damn near anywhere? I mean, move a cursor on screen with your controller. Now with a mouse. Yeah, it's fair to say this control setup has some advantages, at least with certain
They added Resident Evil Village to the Nintendo Switch. I'm like, dang, I did not know that. Wow, that seemed like that would be fun. I'm gonna have to test that out one day.
Not sure how much it helps with Wii Fit. So I guess we just have to live with the fact that some games, they're meant to be on PC with a keyboard and mouse, and if we want to play them, well, just gonna have to log off WikiHow. And I'm too busy using my keyboard and mouse, not paying off my loans to play video games with them. I would love to get into PC gaming, believe me. Was that believable? But I've accepted the fact that PCs and I get along about as well as not me and not PCs. It wouldn't work out. I would love to play The Sims 2 Pets, but I just don't have time to use a keyboard and mouse. Did I say keyboard and mouse? I meant
that. I had that game. That was fun. That was fun. I more so bought it because I thought you could play as you can, but it's like you ain't got like no control over the pet and stuff. So I was like, that's why I had more so got it. But I don't know. Me personally, I think that Sims 2 era, it was a pretty good era for The Sims.
PC games on consoles. Dogs in funny suits. Get them out of there! While PC and console gaming can be quite separated at times, numerous titles share the mediums, even if it takes a while. Many console games eventually get a PC release, which is oftentimes met with roaring applause. Like you finally unshackled the prisoner, it's about damn time! So of course, you'd expect the same reception when a PC game spreads its wings to consoles. The president's been shot. Let's start with a classic, SimCity, created by the company Maxis, first released on PCs as early as 1989. Create your own city, and you too will understand the life of government officials. We need more housing. Or a third zoo. SimCity is a game that'll never get old, no matter how many times you boot it up. You'll always find something new to try, with the game actively encouraging you to screw around and watch everything burn sometimes, featuring a toggle to turn on a monster attack, for example.
Wow.
While the PC was always SimCity's home, the series received numerous console editions, with not only the most notable, but the first one releasing it for the Super Nintendo as a launch title in 1991. Published and even developed by Nintendo. Yeah, they nabbed the SimCity license and made the SNES version themselves. They even changed the monster attack to a Bowser one from Super Mario Brothers.
Wow.
This is still classic SimCity, and honestly, it may be better than the original on PC. Nintendo added a ton of charm to the game, with background music everywhere, fun visuals with the character of Dr. Wright coming in to tell you shit's f***ed. They even added a lot in the form of new This felt like Nintendo had a ton of love and admiration towards the original PC game and just really wanted to make a version themselves. But keep in mind, this is on the Super Nintendo and uses a controller. So instead of just moving the mouse wherever you please, you now have to control a cursor with the D-pad, which isn't nearly as precise. Oftentimes I find myself overshooting or undershooting where I want to go, and the user interface doesn't feel adapted to the console.
Yeah.
It still looks and feels like the PC release, and because of that...
Like, don't get me wrong, I have both. I have a Nintendo Switch, Xbox, and a PlayStation. There's even at times when I do play on my PC, I'll use a controller and stuff. But it's more so with me. I like with shooting games. Yeah, I started using the mouse and keyboard. It's more accurate, it's more better and stuff. But it's like the only games I had to say I really use with a controller on my PC is like racing games. Like, so if I'm playing Forza, Dirt. Then there's this new racing game called WRC. Yeah, it's like I'd use the steering wheel controller, but yeah, there's at times when I'll use like a regular controller and stuff. Like it feels better that way versus with a shooting game. Like, you know, it's easier with certain. It's just certain games out there where it's like you use a mouse and keyboard, and then other games you use a controller. But anyways,
it can be tricky to click on specific things or know what some buttons do. And they released a damn mouse for the system a year later. If SimCity did, then Christ Vegas Stakes did. It isn't too bad without a mouse, though.
Wow.
It works fine enough with a controller and doesn't get too...
That's crazy. I did not know that.
The original SimCity is. However, it does immediately show the problem with bringing some PC games to console. But hey, for an older conversion, this holds up insanely well and was done with a ton of care, which bodes well for the other PC to console games. After SimCity, the sky's the limit. Ants are winning. Sim Ant, one of the many follow-ups to SimCity. I mean, they covered all bases. Sim Earth, Sim Life, Sim Farm. It was only a matter of time. Death, taxes, ants. In contrast to SimCity on SNES, Ant plus the other Sim
it went crazy with this game.
Developed or published by Nintendo. This one specifically was actually published by Maxis themselves. I feel that the success behind City on the platform opened the floodgates for all these titles to go all over the place, which is both great and terrifying. Hey, more people get to play Sim Ant. Oh god. Sim Ant on SNES is alright. Compared to the original PC version, this one feels a lot more zoomed in and confusing to navigate. It works though. Decent version of the game on console. No, you can actually use the Super Nintendo mouse in this one, which is a more than welcome feature. Lacking support for the Super Scope though.
Wow.
Not realistic. As these games kept getting pumped out on PC, they were getting more and more complex, which worked great on computers, but made console conversion so much more complicated. SimCity continued to get console games throughout the years, but here I have SimCity DS, released in 2007. While this isn't a direct conversion of a specific title, it just doesn't feel like they put the time in to rethink how SimCity could work on the handheld. Instead, it kind of adapted how it's designed on PCs to the interface of the Nintendo DS. What? It works. It just doesn't feel as optimized for the DS as it could have been. Everything's too small and awkward to select with a stylus pen. How everything's shown at an angle, while true to the PC game, it makes it clunkier and less intuitive to place objects with a stylus since your damn hand's in the way. It seems like it would have been a match made in heaven. The touchscreen can replicate a lot of the precision you get with the mouse. The problem is, they didn't make SimCity for the DS. They kind of just threw SimCity on the DS. Consoles just don't seem to be the right fit for many of these types of games, which is why sometimes they'll put out original games based on PC series just for these things. From the Sim series, only for Wii and Nintendo DS, we got Sim Animals. Now, why was this not on PC?
That's crazy. Wow.
Beta. It works well with the Wii remote pointer.
Wow.
Didn't also release on PC. Hey, sometimes you gotta throw the console users a bone. In this case, it's Beaver Allen. You Windows. But hey, the Sim series has been throwing console users a bone each and every entry. As part of the same Sim franchise as the previously discussed games, The Sims is one of the most successful video game series of all time.
Oh yeah.
People love to use a keyboard and mouse to do weird shit. It's all about creating your sim and living life, customizing your place, getting a job, starting relationships, or none of that. Piss on the floor. Starting with the original Sims, that may have launched on PC, but eventually made its way to consoles 3 years later. The PlayStation 2, GameCube, and Xbox. Yep, here it is, the worst thing. The Sims on console oftentimes isn't bad, but it just isn't fun to control, man. Going from a keyboard and mouse to two thighs and a torso feels like a keyboard ball. Every action is crammed into the controller, but it's still not enough, and you have to go through all kinds of menus and different screens for action that would just require you to move the mouse and click on PC. Whenever I'd see The Sims on consoles, I'd get excited. But after 30
That's why it was like when, because I remember playing those Sims games when they had came out. I didn't really remember playing it too much on the computer, but I do remember playing it on, because I was more of a console kid and stuff, so... Anyways, I do remember when The Sims 2 had came out and they had it where you could control the character with the analog stick. Because, yeah, before it was like, okay, you got to move up the screen. You want to go into your bedroom, you got to, like, click on the floor panel and then, you know, you do all that. So I think everybody knows how to play The Sims. But, yeah, it was just with me. It was like, that's why I had liked The Sims 2 so much. Because it was more optimized for a console versus, like, with, you know, the other ones. It was like, yeah, you could tell when, like, a PC game comes to console. But from what I'm seeing now, like, they're doing it now where, like, since, you know, Xboxes and PlayStation 5s is, like, the latest, you know, technology to, you know, change, I guess. There are some games, because I think they said it was 2K, where it's not the same, like, how, like, the next gen, so the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, they don't have that version of 2K. They have, like, the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 version of 2K on PC. So yeah, there is, you know, I guess they're somewhat going backwards now. I don't know, but anyways.
Trying to make do, I would give up and just try to get into nicotine again. It's not unplayable by any means. It's just too clunky for me to really have fun playing with a controller. Well, The Sims on console was followed up by The Sims Bustin' Out, a game that was never on PC. This was a console-only joint on PS2, GameCube, Xbox, Game Boy Advance, and N-Gage. So The Sims on PC had loads of expansion packs. And by these, you get more content in your game, like dogs and sex and cats. The Sims Bustin' Out is pretty much a new version of Sims 1 with various features from
I think my sister, she had that one too.
The biggest feature being the ability to leave your house, which is where the title came from. Okay, moving on. It's more of the same from the last one control-wise, but on the Game Boy Advance, we have an entirely different experience that, honestly,
yeah.
is better. I'm not trying to be a consoleized version of a PC game because it's on the GBA. They just had to flat out make a different thing entirely.
Yeah.
This is more of an adventure game with RPG life simulation elements.
Yep.
You can't achieve the level of detail on consoles and PCs, so why even bother? Just
I think my sister, we had this one too.
Advance while retaining the character of The Sims. beautiful. The console version? I mean, if you're gonna play Sims 1 on console, you might as well go the busting out route. There's just more in this one. It's just, every second I play this, I just wish I had a damn mouse. And careful what you wish for, because I got a rat instead.
Yep.
Herb's Sims in the City
Yep.
was a total console-only spit-off to The Sims. This one focusing on grungy city and apartment living, on boxing ferrets. Why this wasn't on PC, I have no damn clue, but it does feel a bit more tailor-made for console. While it maintains the tropes of a life simulator, Herbs is a bit more focused on getting to an end point. It's not as open-ended as a normal Sims game. You want to build up your rep across all the districts, and that lust is what drives you through the experience, whereas normal Sims games, I'm gonna make you piss your pants. This game looks like it tried Monster twice. The Sims 2 on consoles features a new control scheme where we aren't telling our Sims where to go with a cursor. We just control our Sims outright. Scared the shit out of me when I first played. This goes against everything I expect from The Sims, but I will accept it for the sake of my happiness. It's so
I
much
liked
more
it.
enjoyable to use a controller with a control scheme like this. Plus, they have a story mode, multiplayer. I mean, sure, features have been cut from the PC game. That's generally the case with console versions, but honestly, this is a decent version of Sims 2, regardless of how many changes they made from the original. Such as,
Dang,
no expansion packs.
2005.
You couldn't just buy the Sims 2 Pets expansion for your game. You just had to flat out buy the Sims 2 Pets. There's an expansion pack on PC.
I remember that.
It's a standalone release. Controls just like the console version of Sims 2, which is a blessing. And it's just taking the gameplay of The Sims 2 and making it more focused on owning pets. Gotta be honest, this one I was getting pretty into. I mean, it's bitch easy to earn money. You just rub the mutt's stomach a bit. That's a new secret right there. And I found the house building and editing controls to be surprisingly intuitive on the GameCube controller. The Sims 2 console lineup is actually pretty well done overall. They even did a console exclusive spin-off, The Sims 2 Castaway, focusing on surviving on a deserted island.
Did I play that one? I think I
They
did.
Sims on console more and more with each new entry.
I might have. I remember it. I just don't remember if I played it.
From the PC versions work well on a controller. They feel optimized for them. But when The Sims 3 launched on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3,
Right back.
The Sims 3. No, this wasn't supposed to happen. It's pretty much the base PC game on consoles with barely any features removed, which is good because, like I said, the previous versions would cut content, and this is basically the exact same game. But because of that, we lose the direct control we had in The Sims 2, and my god, do I miss it. Sure, pointing and clicking where to go is way more true to how The Sims was always meant to be played, but there's being true to yourself and not changing who you are to conform to society. And then there's just not taking a shower. For God's sakes, take a fucking bath. I liked how this was a bit different from the PC game. Sure, we're missing some features, but they made up for it with enhanced control and some new exclusive content. And I'd much rather take that than this, which is impressive, no doubt. It's a pretty faithful Sims 3 experience. But this is what I was talking about earlier. This just isn't fun for me to control. I might as well check out the Wii version then. The remote's pointer can easily replicate a mouse. So, of course, in this version, you have direct control of your Sim.
Wait, what?
So, the version with a mouse replacement has you controlling your Sims like in The Sims 2 on consoles, and the version with a standard controller has you pointing and clicking.
Oh, that's weird.
That makes sense today. I guess the pointer controls plus the direct control option would make the Wii release the best
That's
of the bunch,
weird.
But it is on the Wii.
It froze, dang. Dang.
Worse performance.
So it wasn't all that good.
God damn it. Now, the Sims 4 was basically a one-to-one conversion. You even get the same expansion packs from the PC on consoles for the first time ever. The Sims 3 still did the standalone pets release thing, but because of the parity between versions, controls are still clunky point-and-click here. It's great that console users get the same exact game now, but what if I don't want that?
I know.
Wrapping up the Sims discussion, we have to mention My Sims, a spin-off of the series made specifically for the Nintendo systems at the time, Wii and DS. It's kind of like how the Herbs was an attempt to consoleize The Sims, but this time, we have custody. My Sims did actually get a release on Windows, but it's very apparent how laser-focused this game was on capturing the Wii's audience. The Sims in this game look far more like Mii's than Sims. The gameplay feels much more akin to something like Animal Crossing.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It looked like that game.
Customizing furniture and housing and collecting things through the power of friendship. I don't know. Isn't this from the series with the piss meter? Yes, a far more family-friendly, cutesy take on The Sims. Of course, when you whittle the franchise down to anything under a PG rating, you're pretty much left with a furniture builder. That's My Sims! Hey, the game did well enough to get numerous follow-ups. My Sims Kingdom was more of a linear adventure, going from island to island solving residents' problems. My Sims Party, My Sims Racing, My Sims Agents, My Sims Sky Heroes. That's a stretch! After all these games, I'm not really sure what the My Sims franchise was. Yeah, you can have them on weekends. Because if I'm going to be spending my time doing anything, it's improving my credibility. Let's try Half-Life, the first game by legendary game developer Valve, released for Windows in 1998. See, I can do more than a double. I can play one of the greatest video games of all time on PC, even nowadays. The world design, story, and interactivity are second to none. It's wild to play a shooter from this time that isn't a slog to get through or confusing in some way. Half-Life is amazing. If only I could play it 12 feet over there. Well, we're in luck. Just barely. Half-Life came to console in 2001 on the PlayStation 2. My sentence has finished. This was the only console version of Half-Life 1. Never came to the Xbox, GameCube, 360, PS3, PS4, Xbox One, none of that. It was meant to release on the Sega Dreamcast. Yeah, that's right, just like the Grinch. They eventually canceled this version as by the time it was ready to come out, the Dreamcast wasn't. That's not to say you can't play the game on Dreamcast. A nearly complete build leaked around 2013. You can burn that onto a disc and play on the console. But the PlayStation 2 version, that legally released. Everybody give it up for doing the right thing.
Let's play Half-Life on PlayStation 2 and Loiter. Oh man, they're gonna cancel each other out.
You know, this game still holds up tremendously well, even on PS2. You obviously get a much nicer and smoother experience on PC, but the console version is no slouch with new multiplayer modes, loads of control options, including mouse and keyboard support, plus just an overall fairly stable conversion from the computer. It's shocking to me that this was the only console release Half-Life 1 ever got, when this...
I never did get a chance to play this game. It looked crazy.
Imagine adding a 2 on the original Xbox to the title. Half-Life 2 on the original Xbox. Much like how 1 was a console exclusive on PS2, 2 is a console exclusive here, though it eventually made its way over to the next generation platforms. You ever play one of the greatest games of all time, and your first game experience was the Xbox port? Half-Life 2 was a landmark title, and it's still impressive to this day, and how interactive everything is, how smooth it all feels, the incredible design. It feels so natural to play. Like your first playthrough is your 7th. You feel like a badass in this game. On the PC. On the Xbox, it's still Half-Life 2. Yeah, this feels like the PC version with resolution and frame rate clocked down a few pegs. Sure, that's a good thing, meaning they barely changed or removed anything. And yeah, good on the original Xbox for being able to play this game. That surely was not an easy task in 2005. It's just not the most compelling to look back at least with the Sims.
Yeah, it was like games. There's just there's some games I'm telling you, you play them on PC, because there's been a lot of games where I've like went back. But no, there's even like console games that's like it's perfectly playable on console, but when you play it on PC, it's just a lot wrong with it. For an example, there's this like one game, it's like Mark Echo, like Getting Up or something like that. It was just like, it was a spray paint. Well, it wasn't just completely spray painting, but it was like you spray painted, fight around, did a bunch of extra stuff. Played that game on console, no problem. Tried playing it on PC, had every issue wrong with it. So yeah, there's just some games out there where it's not equipped for PCs, and it's a console game, and it's perfectly playable on console. But then you try to switch it over, PC game to console. It's like both ways. It's just, it's whatever it works on. It's like, stick with that. But it's like, you guys going back and forth, it ain't gonna work, bruh.
Busting out on GBA like, damn, this game has Dusty Hog.
That is one seldom used pig.
Nah, this one is just Half-Life 2, running somewhat poorly. Me figuring that out is almost as impressive as me being colorblind. It's more than playable, but obviously there are much better methods of playing the game on console now. Plus many of Valve's other games. The Purple Box, a collection not only containing Half-Life 2 and its follow-up Half-Life 2 Episode 1, but 3 games
Team Fortress 2
as a part of this set: Half-Life 2 Episode 2, Team Fortress 2, and Portal. Seriously, this was how these games launched. Still one of the greatest deals in all of gaming. Getting 3 new Valve releases bundled together alongside Half-Life 2?
I didn't know that. I remember this game. I just didn't remember them coming out together like that and stuff. I didn't know what that game was, but yeah, I did not know that Team Fortress 2 came out on console. I did play a little bit of that.
PC and Xbox 360. They aren't really PC games that came to console, though with Valve historically being a PC game developer, it's obvious these are PC games at their heart. That doesn't mean they don't work well on console. I mean, these are all first-person games that map everything perfectly to a controller. The keyboard and mouse is definitely a preference rather than a necessity for these games, which shows how control may not always be the reason for a game sticking to PC. Due to game consoles being a dedicated piece of hardware that's not upgradable like a PC and are meant to last a good few years, more often than not, if you're developing for the latest PlayStation system, you're developing for years-old technology. PC games, you can craft your title around the latest and greatest specs out there. I'm sure the market that's able to buy your product may be more limited, but you're not going to have nearly the amount of restrictions you'd have on consoles. That's why many things not initially made for this screen look like ass. Oh, that's why! The company Crytek was originally known for developing games so graphically intense that PCs were the only known apparatus that could run them. The original Far Cry and Crysis were PC exclusives.
Crysis was pretty good.
Making me happy. Some of the best looking games of their time. Now, they still look pretty damn good today. But obviously, when you can only sell your game to people with a powerful PC, reality sets in. You gotta swallow your pride and release your game on home consoles. Eventually, we got Far Cry Instincts on the original Xbox and Crysis on anything with buttons. Xbox 360 and PS3 is basically just the PS3.
That's actually how I very first had played it. I remember when, because it was Crysis 2 was coming out, and I had just got my Xbox 360. So yeah, they were doing like the trailer. They were playing this like New York song in the background. It was a pretty good trailer. It's like honestly one of my favorite gaming trailers of all time. But yeah, then once I had seen, I think I was getting into YouTube a lot at that time too. It was like 2011. So I do remember like going on YouTube watching like Crysis videos, and that's I had to say when I like my eyes were now open to PC gaming because I found out about mods. And yeah, and then Crysis was like one of the biggest games I guess to like add mods in there. It was like people all like, oh, watch me set off like 100 bombs off at the same time. Yeah, those the classic days of YouTube. But yeah, I was like, I mean, Crysis, I did play a lot of Crysis 2 on the Xbox 360. It was fun. I was like, you just had to be there to to enjoy it and stuff, but it was fun. Now it's like they did the whole remastered thing and they didn't have no multiplayer. It's just the story and that's it. And I'm like, that I don't like. I would rather honestly go back and get me I don't even think the servers work anymore for Crysis 2 to play online, because I was playing online too, so it was weird. But anyways,
level missing, no online multiplayer, and downgraded graphics to the point where it's not the graphical powerhouse it once was. It still looks fine, but 95% of the reason most were interested in Crysis in 2007 was to ogle. When you take that away, I mean, it's still a great game, but the intense graphics were honestly a big part of what made Crysis Crysis. Far Cry Instincts, on the other hand, this is just a flat-out different game from the PC original. It's based on it, but to ensure it would run on the Xbox, they basically made a new game that got the gist of Far Cry 1. The story's a bit different, wow. The level design has been altered to be more console-friendly with less options for the player. It's pretty much just a dumbed-down Far Cry, but this game got a sequel, Instincts Evolution. Yeah, but it's only a sequel to this version, not the original Far Cry 1. Then the sequel got a remake on Wii titled Far Cry Vengeance. Then Far Cry Instincts Predator was an Xbox 360 version of both Instincts and Evolution, and then Far Cry 2 released.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't
That's too
Far
much.
Cry. I was explaining quantum physics.
Far Cry's PC origins are similar to many a series, like The Witcher. Yeah, The Witcher 1 never released on anything but PC. It was meant to get an Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 edition titled The Witcher Rise of the White Wolf, but that ended up getting canned. It's a shame, because there's nothing about this game that feels like it needs to be a PC game. Eventually, The Witcher 2 released on PC only as well, later on receiving just an Xbox 360 version, and ever since then, the series has been multi-platform, with The Witcher 3 launching on damn near everything. Actually anything. Which is definitely a trend for many of the most iconic PC franchises of all time.
Skyrim, for an example. Yep, exactly.
Now this is a PC game.
I think.
Elder Scrolls made the jump with Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind being offered on the original Xbox in 2002, though Fallout didn't get a mainline console release until Fallout 3 in 2008. Prior to that, the only taste we ever got was Fallout Brotherhood of Steel on Xbox and PlayStation 2. Not Fallout Tactics Brotherhood of Steel on PC, released just 2 years before. No. This is just Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, and it's just as much of a Fallout game as Beat Saber. The original Fallout games were top-down RPGs. They incredibly difficult for a newcomer to approach these days, but they're still
so yeah, I remember playing Fallout 3 on console. I honestly, it's like not until now. I mean, I see it now on PC, but I don't know, like I always had thought like at least like Fallout And then just every other game, it was like console games. And then, or they did release on everything, but I just thought it was like one of those like universal releases, and it wasn't like they released on PC first and then they released it on console afterwards. But yeah, Fallout 3, we ain't gonna talk about that game. That, for veterans on my channel that's been, subscribed for a while, we all know that, that game terrified me as a child. So yeah, won't be playing that. So anyway.
To appreciate here. Fallout Brotherhood of Steel is also top down. This is such a mindless and misguided title. This isn't Fallout. This is a beat 'em up with some RPG elements with a world and dialogue options kinda like Fallout. I mean, I can't blame him for not putting the traditional Fallouts on console. Look at this. This is an example of trying too hard to make a game for a console audience. Those console players don't want to think unlike the PC guys. Let's finally bring Fallout to consoles and just make it Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. Was this created out of a threat? Pretty embarrassing when the SNES versions of PC games are more faithful. The Super Nintendo was apparently the primo spot for people who didn't have PCs to play PC games. What did they do their taxes on?
They didn't.
I mean, it was amongst the most powerful systems of its generation and the most popular to boot, so those only made all the sense in the world. Maybe if they named it something else, even more PC games would come to it. As it stands, we got the grandfathers of the modern first-person shooter, Wolfenstein 3D and Doom. Well, PowerPoints of them. And the fact these work as well as they do is a bit of a miracle and set the standard for future ports.
Oh, there's the standard.
These games are completely playable, yet far from ideal, with horrible frame rates and sluggish control. Wolfenstein 3D got butchered by the censors.
Really cleaned it up. It's like, damn, this is like a Pixar movie now.
These games have gotten numerous re-releases since, more so with Doom. It's been made available for most things now. Why, is this the game that got spread everywhere? I mean, obviously, it's Doom. It's one of the most iconic and beloved PC games of all time, and being a first-person shooter using primitive 3D and numerous 2D elements does make it one of the easiest of the whole genre to make available elsewhere. But that just makes me question the amount of differences between these versions. Most of the console ports of Doom are missing levels. They may be shortened or out of order or missing music or have completely new features. It's always up in the air with Doom ports. They're all different, but that's kind of the beauty of it all. Would you really want all the versions of Doom to be picture perfect, the exact same as the PC version? Because even if they were, you just move on to the version of Doom on the next console you'd own and leave these ones to irrelevancy. The differences between these ports, no matter how negative they are, keep these games alive in the form of talking points. You have no reason to play Doom on the Sega Saturn anymore, but at least if you did, you'd have something to say about it.
Well, that stunk.
But if you can pull Wolfenstein and Doom on a Super Nintendo of all things, damn it, why not Civilization?
Why not do hard drugs?
Civ has always been one of my favorite Mac game series. Every mainline game's released on Mac.
I never did get a chance to play
a
this.
Strategy game about running a civilization from the very start. Discovering new land or other civilizations, deciding whether or not to declare war on them or team up, figuring out how to utilize your resources, what to research. It seems very overwhelming and complex at first, but once you start playing, it all makes perfect sense and is incredibly natural and addictive to play. You can easily lose hours to just one play session, and much like SimCity, you can either chip away at the same save file for months or always start up a new game, and it'll be an entirely different experience. And it shocked me how many games appeared on consoles, starting with the original SNES. Honestly, this one has loads of SimCity energy. They added tons of character to this version, music, graphical touch-up. The original Civilization is, for lack of better words, fucking creepy. This ain't too bad. In fact, you could say this is preferable to the original PC version in many ways. But moving forward in time,
that's how games were back then.
Nintendo Switch, I don't know, man. This just isn't fun for me. Maybe
Dang.
playing during the fire had something to do with it, but I doubt it. There's so much more going on with the user interface now. Not that it's super complicated, rather, it just feels far more clunky mapping all these commands to a controller. And not that it's bad, this is just my opinion. I've seen numerous people adapt to the controls and find them to be incredibly intuitive. It's just not for me personally. Well, maybe Civilization Revolution is for me then.
Just like Air!
This was a console-only spin-off of the series on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, and plays very similarly, but is more dumbed down and simplified for a smoother experience with a controller on a TV. It works pretty well here, though obviously the series is still best experienced on PC in my opinion. Though Revolution did get a DS and mobile release, and with a touchscreen, It seems like I'm
I think it was even a free game at one point on when like, so I think it was when Xbox had introduced like the free games with gold. It was just one of those games where it's like, okay, well, it didn't do so well in sales because most likely the people that are on console don't know anything about this game, but then once when they see it's nothing compared to the PC version, they're not gonna mess with it. So sales, yeah, didn't do so well and stuff, and then they was like, well, let's just give it out for free at this point. And people want to test it out, they can, but if not, then yeah, it's always best in my opinion. It's like just have a PC there just in case, like, because now I'm like I try every game that I possibly can try on PC. And then I'm like, okay, like, I'll go and see how it is on console. But yeah, it's like, just have you a PC there just in case. Because at least like, you'll know if you like a game. And then, but then with the console version, it's like it can't. But I don't know. I just think now, like, with where like gaming is at, where it's like you can play an Xbox game on your PC if you have like that Xbox Game Pass, and then they're starting to port like PlayStation games over to PC, and it's like one and the same now. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, like I think it's just have a PC just in case. All right, but anyways,
which really makes you think, what about a Wii version? That pointer would do wonders for the experience, and while it was in the works, it ended up getting canceled due to
I was about to say, I was like, that was the game?
Craft a lower end version of a game made for HD consoles. That's a shame because this control setup would have been amazing. It really makes you think why more PC games didn't come to the system.
Out of fear.
Yeah, Back to the Future the game on Wii.
Bought that game one time, but played it one time, never played it again.
PlayStation 3, which was oddly a trend for that company. Some of their other PC releases would eventually go there, but not Xbox 360, or Wii and Xbox 360, but not PlayStation 3, or just PlayStation 3, or just Xbox 360. Back to the Future eventually got an anniversary edition, which finally put it out on 360 alongside PS4 and Xbox One, so, I can finally sleep. But I assume this would be best on Wii due to the pointer controls. What I got was a game that freaks out when a new color is introduced on screen. It always does that when purple happens. This game works, but it freezes for a few seconds when you fundamentally do anything.
Dang.
It's not like it's a fast-paced game where this really matters. Like, no, you're just clicking on things in the environment and selecting dialogue options. But it just makes the whole experience feel sluggish. Like, why can't this be smooth? Like Spy Fox.
If we can run this, there's no excuse.
I mean, this is a classic edutainment point and click from the 90s. This alongside the others like Freddy Fish, Pajama Sam, Putt Putt. They may not be everybody's first pick for a PC game to bring to console, but their simplicity makes them so easy to put on systems like the Wii or Nintendo Switch that you might as well. These are great for kids and created such fun memories for players back in the day, much like the Oregon Trail. One of the greatest PC games of all time has barely been ported to home consoles outside of a few very specific instances, including a release on the Wii in 2011. Oh man, I can't wait to learn about the struggling pioneer life by strategizing what to buy, when to hunt, and where to go.
Wow.
This isn't the struggling pioneer life.
That tree falling over. That makes that whole scene perfect.
This just stinks.
Yeah, this really feels like they over-engineered the Oregon Trail, trying to make it impressive and modern, more of an actual game. But it's like the original version is more intuitive and fun than this. That game was so quick and easy to jump into and play. This one is just a slog. And it's like, this should have been perfect. Some game systems just have the perfect interface for these types of games. But nope, put StarCraft on the Nintendo 64.
Jesus, have you ever heard of foreplay?
Like, sure, it works. StarCraft made the transition as good as it could here, but why? It's just confusing. This is the only console port the StarCraft series ever received. It's pretty good for what it is, but like, what the hell? Warcraft is in the same boat. The second game is the only one that ever came to consoles, just the Sega Saturn and PlayStation. I just find it confusing. They try once and then give up. Why try once instead of not at all, or at least try one more time? Because while these Blizzard-developed series barely ever came to consoles, Diablo has consistently, with all the main entries receiving ports. I guess it makes sense, as Diablo, being an action RPG hack and slash, translates pretty smoothly over to a controller. But Blizzard has always been a PC-oriented company, so much so that their biggest game of all time, World of Warcraft, was always just a PC game.
Yeah.
Most of these games were simply...
I think, no, what game was it? Dang, it's some game that's kind of like World of Warcraft, where it's like, it's that, not the environment, but it's just that play style of gaming, and they did add it to console, and it's like, bruh, you might as well just get you a PC and just play it like that, cause it don't feel right. It's not the same. All right, it's not the same.
It's designed with that keyboard and mouse setup. Bringing them over to consoles, yeah, it'll work, but it's just not the same.
Yeah.
Even nowadays, they seem to be putting less effort into revamping user interfaces for consoles and just putting the game as you know it on there, like Microsoft Flight Simulator. However, with the amount of games I've talked about making an oddball jump to consoles, many of the most iconic series of all time began as PC-only titles. Tetris, Minecraft, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Grand Theft Auto, all games that launched as PC exclusives. Hell, a series like Grand Theft Auto abandoned its lineage, with console versions launching first in most instances these days.
Yep.
It shows how releasing on PC is oftentimes easier.
Because everybody would, especially with Grand Theft Auto, it was like everybody had themselves a PlayStation 2 and was playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Like, it was either, or on Xbox, but yeah, you were definitely playing Grand Theft Auto. And then, like, when they did introduce it, or not even introduce it, but when they, like, said, like, oh yeah, Grand Theft Auto 5, it's coming out on PC, everybody was shocked by it, not realizing it's like, that's how them games, like, they be getting created and stuff. That's how those games come out. And it just did well on console and stuff. So, but anyways.
Start off on, even if they end up working better on consoles in the end. So
Yeah.
while many titles can stumble in the transition, that transition is necessary for a franchise's evolution. Even if it controls or looks worse, trying new things is how growth occurs.
Yep. That's
I feel
facts.
the same. I've had fun playing these PC games, and their console counterparts, oftentimes, well, worse, are perfectly playable enough. There's so much more to gaming than just the latest Nintendo thing. And I feel like I've severely limited my options and my growth as a human being by just assuming I wouldn't like these games. And there's so many more PC games on console that I haven't taken a look at or even mentioned. Maybe someday, but for now, I think I really just need to look at that PC over there and give the biggest nod of my life, saying, yes! I will relapse!
Yeah, man, console games on mobile, yeah. I think, did I ever get a chance to play Grand Theft Auto? I remember when Grand Theft Auto, when it came to mobile games on yeah, it's like, I remember that, but yeah, man, like I said, it's best just to have everything, and then, but to also make sure that you have a PC, so like you can at least try the game out on there and then see how it is on console and just kind of compare the two, like, oh yeah, definitely gonna play the game on PC and stuff. But no, that was a pretty good video. Make sure if you guys haven't, go subscribe to Scott the Wise for more videos like this. Like, subscribe to me too, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.